Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGod. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and look at how Blackout is changing with this upcoming update. We're going to show off the new maps, new areas, the vehicles, and a few of the different weapons within this video. I chopped up the Blackout portion from my live stream, so that's what you're going to be seeing. It's going to be the entire Blackout portion in its entirety, so I hope you enjoy.
Level 2 prestige in Blackout. There is a healthy dose of the population that's sitting at 80 star, wondering what to do next.
Yeah.
That's coming. And then there's a lot of folks who are not there. So there's a big chasm and gap between the folks sitting at the top and the folks not. So for the folks sitting at the top, you're going to be able to prestige. It's the 10 levels of prestige, but it's also more than that because the Paragon levels
there it goes.
make their way into Blackout. So you're going to be able to play forever. On top of that, though, let's talk about the folks that are not quite there yet. The guys sitting at 35 and 45 and feeling like it's hard to advance. So this was a design decision that we made pretty early on to only reward kills and placements at the high end because that's the core of that mode. But we're loosening that up so that there'll be more placements kind of below that. So for example, in quads it's pretty much the same. The top 50% of the players will be able to advance. But solo players and duo players gets lots of love right now because those players, that 50% of them will now also be able to advance, get merits and placements. So we sort of push the placements down further. That covers the two things. Maybe even more importantly than that, which is a little harder to understand, sort of if you just look at it, is the Blackout merit system has everything multiplied by 10. And what that lets us do is create more merits to give out in more situations to more people more of the time. If you only give out one merit for something, it's hard to give out a half a merit for something. So 1 becomes 10 and 100 becomes 1,000, right? And that kind of system change allows us to do other things, especially in other kinds of game modes, where we can give away more merits for different types of activities related to that featured playlist. So those are the three major changes going on there in the nutshell version.
All right. One of the things that
I'm happy about more merits.
Well, at least it allows people to level up faster, but the big thing is the
at
prestiging. That's the huge part.
All of the content that was illustrated in the roadmap that we shared this morning isn't necessarily available on day one. A great example of that is Hot Pursuit, new game mode coming within Blackout, and that's coming out on Friday.
Yep, Friday.
Let's explain the rules. Friday.
Hot Pursuit. What do we need to know?
It is hot, and there will be pursuit.
Nice.
No, it's so it's a super fun game mode. With our past game modes, Close Quarters Frenzy, Ambush has been a variant. It's still very slow.
Camp for
the
levels,
gameplay is still
basically.
there from Blackout, but with this, we kind of want to say, we said, how can we have more fun? How can we fit the theme of this cops and robbers Operation Grand Heist? So we've been working on brand new vehicles, and they're going to be highlighted in Hot Pursuit. First up are the police vehicles. We've got the police SUV, we've got the PBR boat, and then we've got some other vehicles that the players already used, and those are going to have police skins in Hot Pursuit. And when you hop into a police vehicle, whether it be an SUV or an ATV or PBR, you're going to have some inherent benefits that are going to feed into that game mode. So police vehicles, first up, they're going to have a built-in sensor dart. That's one of those things where from the early days of Blackout, we saw players shooting their vehicle with a
built-in sensor dart. That's
Let's build that in for this game mode. It makes perfect sense. So when you're cruising around in a police vehicle with your sirens on, you're going to get the benefit of a sensor dart. So you're going to be able to move through and kind of root out the bad guys. On top of that,
at great penalty, I mean the siren's not exactly quiet.
The sirens are not quiet. So if you want,
that's fun.
That's what we call risk reward, John.
Yeah, that's a huge risk reward. Turn on your sirens; they know exactly where you're at.
If you could show me like in shapes, maybe scratch and sniff, that would be great. It's like pretty baseline.
We'll check it out after.
Okay.
So in addition to that, the police vehicles will also see enemy muscle cars marked. So that marking is going to be a red beam shooting up from the sky, which is super cool. You hop into a police vehicle and you just look around and you're going to see all these bad guys marked by the beams. You want to go chase those guys. The muscle cars also have inherent benefits, and their benefit is they're going to be on the lookout for loot, high value loot. And so their benefit is they're going to get the same marking, but a green beam, and that's going to mark every single supply drop and supply stash that's currently active in the level. And we've taken a lot of the high value loot, level 3 armor, trauma kit, tactical weapons, operator weapons, gold weapons, and those are only going to be found in supply drops and stashes. So if you want that good stuff, you're going to want to grab a muscle car, head to the nearest supply drop or stash, and get that out of there. In playtesting, the fun, the laughs, the chuckles that we've heard most is when you're chasing each other around. So the police vehicles are on the hot pursuit of the muscle cars, who are then looking for the loot. you know, it's we're kind of working off a variation of down but not out respawn rules. So if you have a teammate alive at the next collapse, you're going to be able to redeploy. With
That's
this, we kind of looked at that, and we saw, you know, it can be tough to drop into the last circle with a strife pistol. So we're going to try what we're calling escalating loadouts, and those loadouts will escalate per circle or per collapse.
Oh, wow.
So you may start out with a strife and some ammo,
Sure.
and if you get the chance to drop in the final collapse, you may get a little bit better of a loadout. So that's going to be where you're going to end up dropping in
That's
with an
pretty
SMG.
cool. At least you got a
maybe
chance.
some armor. Just because we know it can be more difficult in those final minutes to really compete with enemies that are on the ground. So it's super interesting, super fun, and we've been having a blast with it.
And throws the rules of a Blackout kind of experience and turns them inside out, where you're getting more stronger the longer you go. It's
fun. It's fun.
It's fun.
Well, I mean,
Good diversion from the core.
just
mode.
riff on that for a
Yeah,
minute.
for
'Cause
sure.
It seems like, and you mentioned down but not out. And it seems like between what the team had been doing, has been doing in Operation 2, what's planned with Hot Pursuit, seems like new game modes are an opportunity to kind of play in new and inventive ways.
Yeah, I think what you'll see, sort of operation to operation, every operation has kind of a core theme to it. This one, you know, Operation Grand Heist, you have cops and robbers, so you see a lot of cops and robbers related activity across MP and Blackout. So that one has this mode. Other future operations will also have its core theme or core idea, so it'll have its kind of crazy new take on a game mode. But it's not
Thanks, Zach,
just the one that you get
the 1 bit.
kind of the first couple days
Appreciate
of the
that.
operation. There's some other activities around there, hardcore, and some other thoughts that were going on. So we're going to keep the pure game mode evolving, right? The pure base, you know, battle royale experience that people know. But we're also going to constantly try to put the featured playlist in, including the featured playlist that you've seen. So it's not just about Grand Heist. It'll also be about Down But Not Out. It'll also be about Ambush. It'll also be about all the things that you sort of create along the way and the combinations of them.
You gotta give us fast
as we
collapse
build
back.
up this library, like Matt said, we actually get to take some of the rules from one and apply them to the other,
Toxic
and then
Rhino
everything
just
kind of just
followed.
gets
Thank you.
faster and better as a
Act
result
just followed. Thank
of
you.
the continued
Appreciate
involvement
that,
and
guys.
progress that we're making.
Or girls.
You know, to allow different types of game modes to be played inside of the Blackout map.
Yeah.
But one day, who knows what's possible.
Anything's possible. Well, I'm sure that our good friend Ben Lewis will have plenty of updates on the Reddit machine tomorrow. Along with that, I'm sure there'll be a number of sort of updates in terms of quality of life. You guys have been busy on that front as well.
So nothing is more important to fans than the quality of life improvements, at least when they hit me up directly. So there's a couple of things that are going to make it in right off the bat, and more still in the way. So the three that are probably worth kind of mentioning right off the bat is, if you remember the new the stash UI, what we call the supply stash or the death stash UI. When there's an item in the stash, it only shows up once. It doesn't show up like a frag, a frag, a frag. It shows a frag with 3 pips on it. So that idea has been carried over to the quick equip menu. So when you're pressing up on the D-pad to kind of select something quickly, you don't have to burn the space of it 3 times. You only have to burn the space of it once. That just makes everything a little bit faster.
smart.
So
Yep.
that idea has now evolved into the quick equip working the same way. That's one. The one that I think fans will be super excited about is when you go to get a gun, you can strip the attachments off that gun immediately and then put them on the gun that you have. So that's a big change. So if you got a tactical,
taking
for
that
example,
from,
on
like,
the ground,
Apex Legends.
which of us
It's such
does
a
not
smart
strip the
move.
tactical to put all that stuff on the gun that we're using? We pretty much all do that. So now you can just do that, and you can do that with any gun.
That's awesome.
Anything that's not compatible will just kind of drop to the ground around.
Quality
you.
of
So that's a
life.
big change.
Nice.
And then the other one that I like is you can actually now equip something when you pick it up immediately for both equipment and for health items. So if there's a big med kit on the ground of some type, or maybe an axe, you just grab it and it's in your inventory, so you can throw it and grab it and throw it and grab it. Right? You don't have to grab it, go into inventory, go up to quick equip. All that's now one action. So those 3 things are the sort of the significant ones that players will be able
Quality
to
of
feel kind
life.
of right away on Tuesday, and then some more that we're still experimenting with in the quick equip for potentially downstream in the season.
And along with that, there are some tuning updates that you guys have planned as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like MP, we've got a big list of tuning updates, weapon balance changes based off of data, based off of feedback. One that
ABR needs a
I'll
nerf.
mention is that's come up a lot in
Blackout.
feedback is the ABR. ABR is a great weapon in
Yeah.
Blackout. We definitely saw its popularity
It just needs
rise
to
a
auto
bit
pick
with
up
our
ammo.
previous armor tuning. So that one's going to get a little bit of a change. I believe on that one we've increased the recoil just a touch, and we've increased the delay between bursts just a touch again. So we don't want to swing too hard. I think we did that with the SDM. Sometimes we can look at the data and you get a lot of feedback and kind of overshoot that. So we've made some micro changes, taken a look at the data, and I think everybody's gonna. It's not. I wouldn't say a huge meta shift, but some of those weapons that you have been carrying, you may want to look at something else. For example, light machine guns. That's a big change for us. It is a small change.
Yeah, but why? It's important to know why, right?
So you kind of look at that journey. So over the past 2 weeks, we've got a lot of feedback about everybody's driving ATVs. Running
ATVs
people
are
over.
a huge issue.
We don't want that to happen. Vehicles are for traversing the map. We don't want them to be primarily used as offensive weapons.
What if that's all I have? That's all I got going for me, man.
No, you can still try.
Then you should play Hot Pursuit. No, but that said, it's still a part of Blackout.
Yeah.
You can still get ran over.
So what are you doing with the LMGs?
So with LMGs, we were like, you know what? We don't want these to be laser weapons. We don't want everybody to be rolling around with LMGs. What can we do with them to give them a unique benefit? So they're actually going to do double damage against vehicles. For example, a Titan in Blackout may take today 40 bullets to take out an ATV or a helicopter. It's going to come down to 20. So those VKM 750s and those Titans that you leave laying around, you may want to pick up one of those and keep it.
Cool,
keep
especially in squad play. One guy or two of them can pick up that.
The meta changes over time, right? So we think it's so important that there are fast-moving vehicles in the map. That's what the ATV is for. The ATV is not necessarily supposed to be used predominantly as a weapon. And it was really Ambush, I think, that where we started to sort of see that kind of behavior come out. It's not unexpected in a mode like that, but then that becomes sort of the part of the new meta. And that's the fun thing about working on Blackout is the meta is changing all the time. What was super viable yesterday was not viable 10 days ago, and vice versa and in the future. So you have to constantly evolve with the times with that stuff.
Yep.
So now there's multiple counters to vehicles, and the weapon tuning is kind of an unusual place to go look. But now an LMG, which most of us would probably pass over most of the time if you look at the data, if you look at how we play.
In the
look at how
beta,
you
the
play.
Titan was fire.
But now you hold an LMG as a secondary, and it's on par or better than a rocket launcher as a secondary, on par or better than a ballistic shield as a primary equipment, on par or better than mesh mines as an anti-vehicle device. Now there's like 4 different ways, alternative, and the LMGs are good because once you start using LMGs to blow up vehicles, you're going to start using LMGs to blow up people. And then this weapon that you're all skipping over most of the time, you're probably not skipping over it quite the same.
Yeah.
And that's today. Then there'll be something else, in the next season as the meta evolves and changes. And that's what makes it fun. Makes it complicated to keep up with the pace of it, for sure. Make no mistake, we know this better than anybody, but we're not done trying, and this is one way.
Yep, that's solid.
Just removing the ATVs is not a solution. Their start speeds, potentially other things that we've looked at, including fuel, potentially. I'm not saying so. I'm not sure that's the right thing to do quite yet. But we talk about these things all the time. We're listening to what you're saying about that. We're looking for interesting ways to solve those problems, not just the really obvious way, which is to delete everything, right? Delete everything you have.
Yeah, that'd be the...
And then additionally for LMGs, since we're on that topic, they're all going to have a little bit less recoil. So they'll be slightly less frustrating to use against infantry.
Talk about the bow. The bow would be interesting. Yeah, they got to talk about that.
T-minus 1 day until you tell me they're overpowered. One day. 1 day.
We'll fix it.
He's
You guys are
ready.
like the best guests ever. Like I just
This was a
mean,
good
wind you
segment.
up, let you go.
Tell me when to stop.
This is
Do it.
Warzone.
No.
I did that for the tweet earlier. All right, let's move on.
All right.
I got one more on
What?
tuning. One more on tuning, because it's a big one, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of feedback. Hopefully, all positive.
Armor.
Hopefully.
Armor.
Undoubtedly.
We gotta talk about armor.
We've touched armor a few times. Armor's a new thing for us. Levels of armor, Blackout's a new thing for us. So we're still trying to dial that in.
What would you do, Matt?
Well, for this title update, we took a look at the data from where we were before our last tuning change to our oh my god, level 1 is paper now. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, level 1 is trash.
And you know what? Level 1, looking at the data, the curves of our graph of where people were dying previous to the patch to after, you weren't entirely wrong. So we are going to bring up level 1 and level 2. So level 1's going to get a slight bump. Level 2 is actually going to come up to where level 3 is now as far as damage mitigation.
Damage mitigation, not durability. Don't confuse the two.
Right. So we flattened.
So many people tweeting me.
We flattened the armor levels.
Thank you.
But now level 3 still has the inherent mitigation of headshot damage. We've also brought back the armor plates to repair for level 3 armor back down to 5. Now that those are all a little bit more aligned. So
Talk about the shot differential though, because in the abstract it can seem like they're super delta and they're not.
Yeah, sure,
super
sure.
delta.
You know, before we made our tuning changes, I believe it was 5 shots with an ICR against an unarmored enemy, still the same, and then it kind of went up from 6 to 8 to 10. So we're slowly flattening that down a bit, and when you just look at that on paper, it doesn't seem like a huge change. But depending on the range and if you're using a very low-powered SMG, it can, those hits to kill can jump a bit. So we're just trying to dial those in, and I think this pass we've all been super happy with internally. So I'm looking forward to getting the feedback on that, like I inevitably will.
All right, David, I believe that you guys have you brought a build with us, and you wanted to jump into some of the new locations.
This is
Oh.
doing live. I mean, everybody
This is
else.
sick.
Are you sufficiently pumped?
I don't know.
Is that
I'm
what-
steaming.
Well, they're
The
not actually
steam
playing.
coming
I mean,
off
they're
of
gonna
me.
play,
All right,
but
so what we're gonna do is try this in real time. So yeah, we had one of those fancy fly-through videos like MP had,
Yeah.
and them slickly produced zombie videos. But no, we're gonna try it the hard way
do it live.
because we're doing it live. So
I can't tell. They didn't really
I wanna
talk
show you
much
this
about it.
because it's just sort of
Looks
easier
good, though.
to talk about than watching a video. So can we put this up on the screen and show everybody? That's good. So what you guys are staring at in real time is Ghost Town. And Ghost Town is the primary new destination
map.
that we've been talking about. And Ghost Town is the combination of standoff or outlaw, depending on which version you like more from which game, added to the Blackout map. So let me just show you where this is kind of in context. So I'm down here, right down here in the southeast corner of the map. Is that right? Yeah. So a significant new destination. And so just give you a sense of scale here. If you ever played Buried from Zombies, then you kind of
pretty
know
big.
what you're staring at here. So the mansion on this side and then all the town. Let me drop to the ground real quick and try to run
That's
around
a pretty
little bit.
huge
Just
under
quickly, and I'll
area.
fly back out and show you some other things. All this stuff is playable. So all this kind of interior space has all the loot that you'd expect of kind of a primary destination, has all the kinds of tricks and traps and backsides and flow-throughs and all the things that you would know. And this is all covered up, so you're not gonna have anybody dropping on you. The downside of it being underground is that you can't actually just sort of escape through the top. There's no clear way to get back through there. So you
Yeah.
have to use one of the many ways to get out, which means the chokes when
Yeah.
you're trying to get in and out
People
of a
are gonna be
destination
waiting
like
for you.
this can be pretty severe. There's only sort of 3 primary ways in and out, which means
Yeah,
your
this is
entrances
cool.
are not the same things as your exits, and you cannot just sort of surface jump from the top of something and make a run for it in any sort of direction. So this is kind of what, whoops, oh,
That's
good,
cool.
good. Cannot get the dev GUI. Help me
You
out.
need some help?
Yeah, I need some help
I
with that.
got you.
Yeah, thank you. I
There
don't
you
know
go.
why the no clip's not working. Amateur hour up in here. So you got Outlaw, you got Standoff on this side of the map.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
pretty
the
cool.
way down into the buried section of Ghost Town is through
Yeah,
the
too bad
jail
it's
cell of
Blackout.
Outlaw.
But
so you're gonna have a lot
Blackout,
of
at
fun.
least, maybe
this
I'll
one
play
is
that more.
particularly my favorite. It's like a one-way kind of slide down this mine shaft, which
Yeah.
can be pretty entertaining and choky. So this is a significant destination add. Just to put this in perspective, if you look at the playable space and the amount of interior room,
huge.
the number
It's
of places
huge.
that things can go, you're talking construction site level spawning of items here. So this
Yeah.
will be a pretty fun and pretty insane destination that provides
gonna be hot
a
at
particularly
first.
new experience into the Blackout map. Now, just before we stop on that, there's another thing to talk about. This is not the only thing that we did. So I'm going to show you 3 examples of stuff. So there's things that we've done inside the Blackout map, which
Damn,
we
they
would
move hella
call,
fast.
completely new. So there's this entire
Oh,
kind of
neighborhood.
camp section behind where the dam is and where the offices are. So if you look at where I am
Yeah.
in the map up here, there's Hydro. This is a very popular drop for myself.
They
and
stretched
Davey
it
in
out.
Bridge Ambush
Wow,
Crew.
look at how
Shout
far
out
that
to those
water
listening
goes
tonight.
back, too.
You got this thing right here, which is where this is. So now you've got pressure on Hydro, not just from the guys who dropped short on offices or the guys coming up from Asylum, but also this whole thing, which is now
That's cool.
pretty viable. It's like a decent, viably suitable place to drop. If you're going to be less looted, but then you're going to put pressure on the guys to come in. So that's what we call new, and there's more than one of those. The other one is down here. This is another example of something inside
That's cool.
the map that's
They just
completely
kind of
new.
filled out the
But that's
map,
not
so
sort
all
of
the edges are
totality
kind
of
of
that
full
story
with
either.
the.
Let me go over, find my way here. This is what doing it live looks like, guys. I'm going to come over here.
They move really quick
and
with theirs.
drop
I wish mine moved that quick
what we
when
would
you go
probably
to
call,
theater.
what you would call apartments or condos.
Yeah.
Remember, this section of the map here is typically
That's how it looks.
Has been 6 buildings, what we call the 6-pack.
They added,
that was a term I
2
think
more.
you guys picked up, 6-pack, and then we now have it as an 8-pack. So now this is even more viable as a potential first drop, even in a quad
Yeah,
game.
because you
get
got
some
more
pretty
loot.
fun activities.
Because that
with
was the
guys
problem with that spot
fighting
before.
across the street from one another or house to house. Now there's 8 buildings. So again, you're not going to walk out of here completely looted up with the quad game, but you're definitely walking out of here in a duo game and a solo game super looted up. So that's what we would call expanded. So you have new, which are destinations which didn't exist, sort of secondary and supporting structures, and you have these
Abs.
which are expanded, and there's lots of these. I want to show you one more because firing range fans will be
Long time for
thrilled to
you.
death or very, 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 very unhappy with me. So here's another one that's gotten expanded. Look how close this is to firing range.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you get drop firing range and you cleared it all out and you think you're done, maybe, maybe not, because you're going to have this destination which has been expanded, putting pressure on you coming down from the
That's
hill
really
here.
good.
And
They
this
added a
is
lot
an
more
absolutely
space.
Tough fight. It's tough enough as it is.
Hopefully it doesn't feel slow now.
It's even tougher still. So we like these kind of destinations which
Yeah.
are close to. They're not as large as or significant as.
Amazing B, just subscribe.
But
Appreciate
they're
that.
also adjacent to, and that puts interesting pressure on players. One last one to talk about, sort of, and that's more macro than that. What you'll see along the way is kind of different and more supporting things, sort of running along your typical paths that are just sort of expanded. I think this one by the riverbank here. Let's see, where am I?
Yeah, some of those the support structure additions we've added are my favorite for my playstyle because
Yeah.
I don't like to drop hot. It stresses
Yeah.
me out. So with these new support structures in my leisurely jaunt from place to place, destination to destination, I have more places to kind of
Oh, look at the
explore
car.
and look at.
What's
Ooh,
that?
what's that? What is that?
What's that?
Instead of a quad
What
right
is
there,
this?
it's a car.
It's a,
He's gonna drive it.
it's a dope muscle.
It's time to wager on, to wager. Oh no.
Gotta-
So as
Oh, look
you're
at the money
driving
coming
around,
out too. That's a cool
like,
effect. Yeah, they
some
do
of
need
these
to make it
areas that you're
120
pointing out,
players.
these are
Yeah,
things
I agree with that.
that
So
have
it only
been
fits
sort
2
of
players, but
coming
it's side
into
by
existence.
side
It's
instead
not
of the
like they just
quad
kinda
front and
popped out of
back.
nowhere, right?
Oh my gosh.
So I'm
we
sure the
started seeding
dynamics
out,
of it will
kind
work different.
The survey stakes as an
But it is a
example,
bigger target to hit.
where these things might be going, and with the high degree of wait, what?
What is
Police
that, David?
vehicle?
What's that?
Now we're gonna
What's
hear the
that?
siren.
It's the 5-0.
Whoa! No, you didn't, Matt.
There you go.
You
can see
didn't.
a good little look at the built-in sensor dart there. No
Oh
enemies.
my God.
Just
Okay, so you
Oh
can
my
see the
God, what
sensor
have you
dart
done?
at
No,
the
you can't
top.
turn those off.
What
Let
have
me.
you done? What have you
can't-
done?
You can't turn those off. You lose the sensor dart functionality.
Why would you turn them off?
Well, if you want to be a little bit stealthier,
There it is.
if you want to
No.
go for a more of a cold pursuit,
I'm done.
I don't know.
Here, I think.
See,
I've
on the
outbid
mini
my
map, it just pulls up the
usefulness on this
sensor
one.
dart around it.
Thanks, Hot Fuzz. Appreciate it.
It's pretty cool.
All right.
I'm never gonna hear the end of this one.
All right. So is there anything else in the Blackout front that you want to cover here today?
Is there anything in the Blackout front that you want us to cover today?
No, I
Refer
see
to
what you
note
just
cards.
did there. No, I mean, we covered it
That
all.
was a really good
There's
segment.
a lot there. Like Vaughn said, we could sit and talk for hours about the changes that players are going to see tomorrow, that they're going to see a week after that, a week after that.
Yeah, Tony talked about it a little bit when he was up. I want to reinforce this stuff. Like the season, the operation, is not tomorrow. It is not Thursday. It is not Friday.
Well, they
It
said
is
the
tomorrow
sensor
and
dart-
Thursday and Friday and the entire time. And we put the roadmap up on
You have to
the
turn on your
Treyarch
radar
website.
so
It's
it makes it
Treyarch.com.
really loud, or your siren.
I linked it earlier so that people can just have a direct link to that thing while you guys were talking about it. It's just really important that you understand that this stuff is seasoned and plotted out over the course of time. It is designed to give you things kind of on a schedule that's predictable, and it's absolutely and 100%, and you're absolutely right, on us to do a better job communicating how that works, and that's why we're doing this. And it's not the only thing we got going on with this. We got some deep dives on the coming with the developer update, which they're editing right now, I think, and we're going to do a much better job. We're going to get on camera a lot more and talk through these things so you guys can understand them more than the bullet point inside the Reddit post. That's just one of the things that we do.
And that about wraps up the video. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, please remember to hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe for future content. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.